back, ladies and gentlemen, to the 2017 International Esports Federation 9th Esports World Championship here in beautiful Busan, South Korea. My name is Rapid, with me is Preacher, and we've been bringing you lots of League of Legends love all day long, and we're going to continue that with Serbia taking on Romania. And these are two teams that should be very, very evenly matched, full of very highly skilled players.
Yeah, so on one side you got Serbia, you got the returning nearly champions coming into this tournament.
Right.
They did end up third place in the previous IeSF, but on their other side, their opponents, Romania, they've got some aces up their sleeves because they brought some ex-professional players to come in with their expertise and potentially bolster their forces.
Lots of challenger players on both sides, you're absolutely right. And as we see the players on stage shake hands, that means that we are going to send them to their booths and should be getting into our third game of the day here very, very shortly. We've got two more series immediately following this one, and with a few breaks in between. Everything has been going without a hitch so far. I've talked to players, they're very happy. I'm very happy that we get a chance to cast some pretty unique games so far, Preacher.
I mean, I'm learning a whole lot about what we couldn't quite find out at Worlds. We're learning a lot about Ergot. We're learning about what Ardent supports too now that Ardent might not be the best item ever.
Yeah.
Turns out they still build them, and turns out it's still very good for your ADCs, just maybe at a later date. And yeah, it's just really nice to see these guys adapt and innovate beyond what they know.
We are going to see a lot of innovation, I can tell you, over the course of this week. We've got a lot of different teams, a lot of different players, over 300 players from over 30 different nations represented here at the 9th Esports World Championship. And it's been really kind of interesting to see the styles that come from each region. You have players who, by and large, have probably not talked to each other outside of their regions because these guys are just from everywhere, bringing their styles, their strategies here to the 9th Esports World Championship. So lots of interesting things to see out there, many more to come.
Of course, and it's always a very isolated type of situation because while you can practice and scrim with a whole lot of the other teams coming into IeSF, you don't really know who you're going to be playing against in groups until the group draw happens. So you need to hide a whole lot of your strategies, and that might be playing mind games on yourselves as well as the enemies. Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. It's like, where are the mind games? Like, do you know it's a mind game if you don't play the same style that your opponent does? And you just see them doing something weird, and you're like, oh, I'm just going to do whatever I want to do. I don't know. We have seen two relatively one-sided matches so far, so I'm actually really hoping that this one is a lot more evenly matched, and it certainly looks like that on paper. So without further ado, let's go ahead and head into picks and bans for our third game of the day. It's Romania taking on Serbia.
And already we can see a very targeted ban coming out. Your eyes are not deceiving you. His name is Two Axes, and his Draven is off the board immediately.
It doesn't take a whole lot of thought process to say, I wonder what we should ban against a guy whose name is Two Axes. Let's just ban a Tima? No, it's Draven.
Yeah.
And there's an Ornn ban as well, a very popular pick we've seen twice already.
It's just shaping up to be a character that needs to be really respected. I mean, we harp on almost to no end about his level 13, about his late game potential building new items, but a lot of these teams haven't really reached that mark, haven't really taken advantage of it. It's really his early game, mid game, team fighting presence with his ultimate that he's really capitalized off of and has really taken to victory.
If I was a pro player, I would name myself like Gargoyle God XX23 or something. Then people would ban Galio, but I don't actually even play Galio. Joke's on them.
Just mind games already.
But no, here it is definitely well needed. And seeing a lot of AD carry focus. We already have 5 banned out. Of course, maybe Ezreal banned against Jungle Ezreal, but still, not a lot of AD carries left on the board.
Yeah, and you definitely need to respect Stefan. I was talking to a whole lot of these players beforehand, and I think on other teams, on teams that are not Serbia, it's almost unanimous that people say Stefan is the best player on Team Serbia. So you really got to be paying attention to that. Already taking away the Ezreal, taking away the Jarvan by first picking it as well, but you do leave open a plethora of junglers, like, for instance, Sejuani and also the Gragas that can still be picked up.
This Romanian squad is, squad returning from last year. It's a Team Nexus, and they do have new players, though, so you do have to keep in mind that, the performances still something we have yet to see. all very, very skilled, many challengers among them, and a very strong first pick, but where does it go from here? And whoa, what is that? It's
Wow.
a Nidalee in the jungle. Hey, if you're the best player on your team, you got to have a champion to show it. Nidalee is a great pick.
Oh, most certainly. You mess with the bull and you get the horns. You ban the Ezreal and they just pick up another carry jungler. You have to be expecting a quick, fast-paced, relentless sort of ganking path coming out from Stefan, because the greatest thing about early game junglers in the current meta, that's really been this way since the start of Season 7, is that catch-up mechanics are so good in the jungle right now that if you fall behind, both in terms of CS and also in terms of experience, you just start farming, and if you start on level 3, you end up on level 5 by a full clear's time, so it's really easy to just get right back into the game.
Got to keep the pressure up. We'll see if he can do it. A Kassadin locked in for Emmy. He doesn't even know what he's going up against. Picking a champion that definitely has its counters.
Yeah, I mean, it is a very solid champion. We have seen it go to a lot of good avail as a blind pick. I mean, it denies away a whole lot of the Syndras, the Orianas as well, because they can't really output damage against him. But you are correct. It is very difficult to simply blind pick him. And if you pick him before your enemy pick, they can just pick an AD champ and completely roll over him, like, of course, a Talon or a Zed.
Yeah, absolutely. Wouldn't be surprised if we saw those, but do mine eyes deceive me?
No.
Or is that a Tryndamere?
That is a Tryndamere in the top lane. Oh my.
Maybe you're just trying to catch the eyes of, League of Legends founders, but I gotta say it's been a cool minute since I have seen a Tryndamere in my game, so looking forward to seeing that, but I don't know how well it's going to fare in a very different meta than the last time we saw Tryndamere be popular.
Yeah, look, I'm curious as well. I'm not going to lie, Rapid. I've never casted a Tryndamere. I'm just going to be absolutely honest. I've never actually seen a Tryndamere in a competitive game. There is one of the best top laners in Oceania, Swiper. He is a Tryndamere one-trick, but only in solo queue because he believes
Big
it's free LP.
man, yeah.
Yeah, now maybe that emulation is trying to come through right here.
Well, he's going to maybe need a different emulator. I don't know. This is a very unique way to go. But both teams have chosen their AD hyper carries. So if you've been watching things like Worlds or other games played on these similar patches, you kind of know what to expect, at least from the duo lane. So maybe the more things change, the more they'll stay the same in that respect. As we finish things off with kind of an interesting ban there, a Rek'Sai taken off the field against Romania.
Yeah, I mean, you sort of have to hedge your bets and say, we don't quite know where the Jarvan's going. He might go top, he might go jungle. If he's going top, then we have to ban away the Rek'Sai. We believe it's way too strong for Speedy here. They might have done a really high amount of homework on the Serbian squad, but they do leave open the Shen, which means that this could just be a Tryndamere in the mid lane.
What? Okay, I mean, well, anything is possible at this point.
I mean,
that's a Shen lock-in. You were actually the one, Preacher, talking about bringing AD carry champions against Kassadin. And now Kassadin's damage, he's not an early game champion.
No,
let's kind of put it that way.
means.
And with Tryndamere's ability to heal through a lot of damage, very high sustain, maybe this is what Box Hour is going to bring. I have never seen this happen before. But we're going to get a chance to watch it here.
Yeah, this is
and
absolutely...
so will she.
Yeah, this is absolutely bonkers. I mean, right now, Romania, they've locked in the rest of their team compositions. There will be a Jarvan top lane. Very good read coming out from Serbia. But over on the other side, yeah, like, my eyes are just going to be stuck on this Tryndamere in the mid lane. He has early game. Kassadin sort of has to go into melee, so he will be traded upon. Let's just see if he goes full cheese with the level 1 crit.
Mixing the old with the new, we get a very classic duo in the bottom lane for Romania, the Janna Kog'Maw. But on the other side, it's a Soraka. I don't know. We're just bringing out all the strangers. I mean, I'm a big fan of Stranger Things, but this is certainly one of those. Serbia with a very unique team composition going up against Romania that seems to have just locked in very solid picks in every single role.
Yeah, this is absolutely crazy coming out from Serbia. They sort of wanted to counter the side of Romania, but they might have dug themselves into a little bit of a hole, most namely the one where they don't have a lot of engage. But let's talk about their strength. So, for instance, you have Soraka, which is a very good sensor user. We saw Ming on RNG use it pretty much every single game
incredibly.
in Worlds. Yeah, so it's a very good champion when you want to apply sensor. That's the whole deal. You got a Tryndamere, you got a Tristana. It's a very good combination, as well as the Nidalee heal. That's what they're potentially going for, and also the outplays on the entire map. I mean, if we have to glue our eyes onto the mid lane, then you got to imagine that these trades are going to be going very close.
An incredibly high sustain team coming out of Serbia. But for Romania, I mean, you just screenshot their team composition and you can play it for any team at Worlds, any team on the previous few patches. It just looks so solid. So kind of the old strengths coming through for Romania, but with some very new changes to the way we really traditionally think about playing League of Legends for Serbia.
Yeah, Serbia, they just got this win lane, win game style, and they want to execute that one.
We'll see them do it as we get in here to game number 3 of the day. Of course, this is just best of 1 group stages to see who bubbles to the top as the strongest teams who have come to play here in the 9th Esports World Championships in Busan. I gotta say, I was talking to the players earlier. They're all really excited to be here, but it's a new environment where they have to bring their best. So let's go ahead and get into game number 3, Serbia versus Romania. And away we go. Here we are, Romania, Serbia, Rapid Preacher, both bringing in a Tryndamere in the mid lane.
Yeah, it's a dynamic duo, and look, I just really want to see exactly how Boxer does this one, because admittedly, even if Cassidy theoretically manages to make it to level 6, so he gets his Rip Walk, even if theoretically he manages to CS on the same level as Tryndamere, Tryndamere's spin is on a ridiculously low cooldown. And if we're going to be comparing the high cooldown of Riftwalk level 6 compared to the low cooldown of Tryndamere's spin, he still does have a whole lot of advantages to catch up.
And keep in mind, we do not know the runes that these players have brought on their champions. So if Boxar walks up and 1% crits Emmy, the lane just kind of ends at that point. He doesn't get to play League of Legends. He doesn't pass scope, collect $200. It doesn't work that way. And things could take a turn for the worse for Emmy here.
Look, I'm not going to lie, I am just a little bit disappointed that Tryndamere didn't actually start with the crit gloves at level 1 and two potions, because that is a very cheesy start that actually works ridiculously well for Tryndamere, but he's gone for standard. One person who's not gone for standard, though, is Tasteless in the bottom lane on Soraka. She's actually opted to go for the spell piece as opposed to the coin, which has proved to be a very good starting item on a whole lot of supports.
Coin is just so good for making money. I think it's pretty good. Well, it's very well named in that regard. But yeah, maybe trying to play a little bit more aggressively. We'll see how well that works out. But this is what we really have to watch. Stefan in the jungle. Serbia's by far strongest player, you were saying?
A whole lot of other players rate him. They say he's extremely scary to play against. It's really the mind games that go into it, because he could just hard farm one game and then do nothing but camp the very next game, and you just cannot predict that. And that is just an extra factor that people don't consider, just like that.
Anytime I see a Tryndamere crit level 1, it just looks so comical. It's like, all right, you're already getting in there, Emmy. Having some struggles so far, but I love the Dark Seal start. It's just one way to make sure that you have plenty of sustain. Oh, no. Oh, Stefan. No, don't do it.
What?
Ah, he's 1 hit away. Jason the Wolf, he's diving back in, and he takes it down.
That was way too close to comfort. I think the whole room held its breath there, and now you can hear frantic applause as he managed to 1v1 the Wolf camp.
It's like, congratulations, you beat a jungle camp. A neutral monster was conquered by you. And that's the victory for today. One step at a time. It's little things, Preacher.
I mean, admittedly, this is one of the reasons why Nidalee might not be top tier, is because her clear isn't the best. She does single target damage. A whole lot of the better camp in the current meta are multi-camp, like for instance the Raptors and also the Krugs. It's pretty difficult for Nidalee to deal with.
Man. Pounce. Pounce. There you go. But for the most part, yeah, it's impressive he stayed alive, but Stefan will need to kill things other than just neutral monsters to really solidify his place in this game. And we'll see what his path looks like after this. He's pretty low on mana and health right now, so I'm guessing a trip back to base is in his future, but you know, what is his impact on the game going to be?
It just has to impact these lanes. It's very much like Jungle Israel. That could be one of the reasons why it was banned away. All you do is you go into a lane, and you don't really provide CC, but you provide raw damage. So if people have already traded before, like we've already seen endless amount of times in the mid lane already, then you could just assassinate people before they could even have a chance.
Well, look at Speedy already pushing, or not Speedy, Stefan pushing Speedy out of his jungle, forcing a reset there on a very annoying camp, and he can actually return back over the wall to take it down and keep Speedy from coming back.
This is so smart. He's dodged the ward and he's going to bot, misses a spear though.
He also has red buff as well, so if you land a couple of auto attacks, tag them with that damage over time, can be really annoying, but now actually all the way bouncing back up towards mid. See if he decides to go in there and land a cheeky spear. Nope, just heading back to base.
Yeah, but he needs to even up the items with Speedy as well, because the downside of Speedy is that he has to go back without getting a camp that he invested a lot of time into. The upside is he got his Smite Stone, so he should be able to put down a whole lot of wards. He should be able to track down Stefan, as he is doing right now, going into his jungle. And if Stefan doesn't actually spot this one out, he loses Raptors, one of the better camps in the current meta.
And there you go, Speedy taking the big one and backing off away. So Stefan actually, being given as much as he gets. Now look at Boxer, he's actually spinning in on Emmy, totally okay with taking that trade. He just heals up afterwards.
Yeah, but Emmy should have probably pushed the issue a little bit, go a little bit aggressive. It is a level 5 Tryndamere. You know for certain that he's not going to ult, and Soraka's not going to get sick before he does. So a whole lot of these are mind games because the junglers are fighting.
We got fights in the mid lane, fights in the jungle here as well. Stefan versus Speedy. Needs to land the spear, maybe following through. There's the flash, the ignite. One more spin to take him out. He's going to try to turn it around and gets it.
You are kidding me. And now he's just going to go down to Emmy. So it's a 1-for-1 trade, but both of them had assists on it. So very clear advantage going over to Serbia.
All planned, Preacher. You got to get the double buffs to the mid laner somehow. There you go. So Emmy has these double buffs right now. That's a little scary. You can see even Stefan trying to find a way to take him back, but that's where they'll stay.
It's extremely scary because it means that now Cassian has a decent amount of wave clear compared to Tryndamere. Both of these two champions are single target as opposed to multi-target, but because of the blue, it works out better, and Jarvan might actually get solo killed.
Oh my goodness, the damage over time's enough. Clowny takes out Bulletproof. Might need to check that vest next time. That Shen is doing work.
Yeah, you can never disrespect a Shen because this is one of the things. A lot of people just assume Shen is just an ult bot. You get level 6, you wait until a play happens around the map, and you ult in. However, his early game is ridiculously strong. If you manage to get your Spirit Blade through somebody twice because of positioning issues that the enemy have, then all of a sudden you do about half of their HP in a trade, and it just wasn't respected by Bulletproof.
Yeah, both players with Tiamat, but a host of extras for Clowny after really dominating that lane. And now, it's not just about that top lane. Returning down to Dragon, Infernal will go the way of Serbia, who take it out uncontested.
It is just such a fast Dragon. I mean, the first blood went over to Tryndamere, so he owns the entire bottom part of the jungle when it comes to warding. Stefan also managed to make a huge impact down that part, and they knew for roughly certain that Speedy was around the top side because of that one pink ward that they placed very deep, so they just went for the Dragon that was completely uncontested.
Top lane, I look back to top and Bulletproof's almost already dead again. I'm like, that is not going very well. And now, Shen free to make plays elsewhere. He's playing River Shen, heading back down there towards the Skittle Crab.
You don't really need to have a huge impact in your lane because at the end of the day, you are Shen. But the fact that he got a solo kill in his lane will propel him so far forward. This is a scary situation for Bulletproof. You can see every single time he CS's, he's just going to get punished.
Oh my god, he actually might just get taken out there. Wow! The third hit from Clowny bops him and takes him out again. Another solo kill for Serbia.
You just cannot discount it. You do 4% of their maximum HP on your Spirit Blade auto attack, and then a further 4% from Grasp of the Undying. It's a huge burst that, mathematically speaking, if you don't consider, then it just catches you by surprise. Caught Bulletproof by surprise twice now.
Wow, and it's not even just about the top lane. We've already seen how strong Clowny can be twice. Stefan finally kind of hitting his stride. He's comboed well with the mid lane. If we could have a way to calculate that, jungle proximity, it would look pretty high. Stefan is maybe not babysitting Boxer, but he is at least there for moral support. And I mean, both of those really contribute to Emmy really not having much of an effect, even after getting that kill and double buffs.
Yeah, he's just making sure that Boxer can have a 1v1 lane uncontested by Speedy. You can see the previous time they were actually dueling in the jungle, mainly just to keep the mid lanes by themselves and isolated. It is best for this Tryndamere because, like we mentioned time and time again, the AD damage doesn't get mitigated by Cassian. Has a great time. Maybe not so there, but he can heal it all back up, so it's not a huge problem. And that is Stefan's big MO, just making sure that the lanes are insular because these lanes are very good for Serbia.
Gotta get the insulation. It's getting pretty cold here in Seoul. The cheat code for insulating that I just found out is you put bubble wrap on your windows. So I went out.
Bubble wrap on windows?
Yeah, I buy the bubble wrap, but it never makes it to my windows because it's just too fun to pop on the way there. That's how I've been insulating. Stefan has a slightly different strategy. His is way less fun than mine is, but he does get to win games like this, and this is that's probably a pretty good feeling too.
Yeah, all you need to do is walk around and make sure that things are uncontested, and it works out well for him. Not too sure about the bubble wrap, but he is making sure that his laners are having a very safe time.
I think that's maybe a little bit more effective. We need like a Nidalee skin where the traps are made of bubble wrap so that it like pops to notify them instead of just like, you know, giving them the tracked marker over the head.
That would be so
annoying. It'd be
annoying.
just as effective.
Let me tell you a little bit, Sonny, about myself, Rapid. I'm a very audio-heavy player, so I don't rely on visuals as much as I do on audio. If I can hear a cue coming, then generally that's how I can tell. So there are some skins that have absolutely tilting audio associated with them. I just hate them.
You like things like Lux Slav, Lulu.
Yeah. I mean, I turn voices off just for Lux.
I don't blame you there, man. That is not something I need in my life, trying to taunt me whenever I miss a skill shot or something like that. That is that's next level. But you know, some might say the composition that Serbia is bringing here is a little bit next level too. As we watch two axes walk forward, he's going to be busted back and taken down. That burst damage is too much.
That was insane. That was calculated almost flawlessly. Knew the amount of auto attacks that his E needed to tick off. Knew the amount of raw damage that his ultimate would have done at rank 1. And just gets the kill within a nick of the actual number.
That's incredible. Even I like looked at that damage. I'm like, okay, he's just trying to push him back, but no, the damage is there. Now Shen ult in the mid lane, go to save Stefan's life. Oh my God, the perfect hop over the wall. The spin over previously by Boxer, both get away alive. But now Stefan is gonna have his work cut out for him. The great escape, is it here? He can jump outside.
Oh, the
flash, the heal. It's just in time. Stefan stays alive, and Speedy can't take him out. Now, there's still very low health members on Serbia's side, but look at the Tryndamere ult. His rage will be undying, and so will he.
No!
Oh no, he busted Clowny. That's not the way you want to bounce there.
Oh, that is a heartbreaker. They nearly got out scot-free, but Clowny was just on the wrong side of the plant, and they said, sorry, buddy. Look, we got to get out. It's for the best of the crew.
Someone's getting reported after this game. Cloudy gonna have to take one for the team, but by and large, a remarkable escape for Serbia that secures for themselves a 2,500 gold lead.
Yeah, considering the fact that Romania cut them off pretty well, even though Clowny used his ultimate and then got divided by the rest of the side of Romania, so they couldn't actually use the Shen effectively inside the entire fight, all the way to the point where they nearly got out scot-free. I mean, it was as flawless as they could have potentially done it all the way until the very last execution error. But now they're going to go back, lick their wounds, and they're actually going to lane swap both of them to make sure that they can potentially get some new objectives.
Yeah, you end things down on the bottom lane. Got to take it somewhere else. So Serbia do swap things up to the top, and they are mirrored by Romania. But they have a big minion wave pushing in here, so we'll be able to get some damage done.
This is a huge one, and it's also backed up by Speedy. So Speedy is just doing more or less the same, except I don't think it's going to work, and here comes Stefan.
Oh, both junglers, but look at the burst damage. Stefan blowing up two axes on falls immediately, and Speedy falls apart as well. A perfectly well-coordinated jungle gank, all made possible by that Serbian team composition.
That was it. It was about half of the HP of the Cosmo in the spear alone, and after that, it was the ult 1-2, how do you do? He's out of there. There's no Cogmore for the rest of the entire fight, and everybody else falls afterwards. So the side of Serbia, they are rotating extremely quickly. This might be dangerous.
Yeah, Emmy trying to get in there, but he's totally outmatched, and I mean, he could wail away for a while, and Tayson should still be able to heal him totally up. Wow, I just gotta say, this is starting to look like Serbia might be running away with it, Preacher.
Yeah, they certainly got a significant amount of lead already by the 13-minute mark. They're going for the second Drake of the game so far in the Mountain Drake. It's looking like a very ridiculous situation where Stefan is just enabling all of his lanes that naturally win to just keep on winning harder, because you could see he made sure that Boxer had a 1v1 lane in the mid lane, and now he is influencing his bottom lane so well everywhere he goes.
It's not even Stefan just being a, an aggressive carry player, he's enabling the rest of his team. And I mean, he's getting in there for kills on his own. That clutch spear to take out two axes before that fight really even started in the top lane, crushing it. So Serbia is doing very well, even though once again they are bringing some non-traditional picks. Boxer specifically, I was looking towards him. Last time I remember Tryndamere being popular it was when AP Tryndamere was a thing.
Oh, that was a nightmare.
Nobody wants to remember that era, but it was impressive. But he is going ADs, building things really. I want to say correctly. Has a cull, so he is still trying to get things towards a big payoff later on. And I mean, he's got a 20 CS advantage in his lane. Looks pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, it's actually a remarkably good item. Now, I've already did a little bit of a rant on a previous broadcast that I did about how Cull is arguably better than Doran's if you know that you're going to win your lane, because practically you get 3 HP on every hit except for, as opposed to 2 from a Doran, so you get more HP, and you also get the gold benefit. The only thing that you lose out is your raw HP that you get on the Doran's blade itself, but, you know, he doesn't even need it. If it's a 1v1 lane, if he's healing up to full every time with his Q, not needed at all.
Yeah, you're not using that HP all the time, but you will use the gold at the end of the payoff. He is dangerously close to having that payoff. As the Rift Herald is taken out, Stefan grabs it up.
Just getting everything on the entire map, and a lot of that is enabled by their forward wards and denial of wards away from Romania. I mean, you can see in the river, there is no vision at all for Romania past that point. There are 3 pinks down the entire river, and every single piece of vision is actually being moved in by the side of Serbia. So this is just a starve-out tactic where they're getting dragons, where they're getting Rift Heralds, and just by sheer coincidence, they're getting kills all around the map as well. So they're starting to bolster their forces so far forward.
Eliminating vision, controlling the map. Serbia really, you're kind of crossing all their T's and dotting their I's and their lowercase J's and really everything else. They want to throw in some umlauts. They would dot those as well. They really do have just complete control. I think the only ward on Serbia's side, or on Serbia's own jungle, they have 1 on each side. So not a lot of vision out there, and here comes Herald, taking it down.
We're going in. He takes it down really fast, and that is one of the most influential turrets to take down if you possibly can orchestrate it with the Rift Herald. The fact that you can break down the mid-inner turret means that you practically own the entire jungle.
So crucial.
Yeah, while they don't at the current moment, wait for the next couple of minutes, because they are going to move their ward line up without a doubt. Soraka and also Stefan on the Nidalee, they should just be able to completely starve out Romania, not only from the major objectives, but now from the minor ones as well.
And Bulletproof couldn't even stop Boxer from taking a bunch of HP off that top second tier turret. Tryndamere starting to run away with it. He's not there yet, but rapidly approaching that time. And as the pressure shifts down towards that bottom lane, like you were saying, Preacher, this is going to become tougher and tougher for Romania to deal with.
Yeah, and the whole deal with Boxer is that his real MO is to get to late game to the point where he could just split push. Now, unfortunately, he didn't take teleport, so he won't be the 100% effective split pusher, but with the Ignite, he just wants to be able to 1v1 anyone who comes his way.
Everyone.
Yeah, so he just wants to get into a side lane, but at the pace that Serbia is currently putting this game into, he might not even get a chance to go into the split push method. He might just be this Tryndamere that's tagging along for a good ride.
I mean, the ride's looking pretty good so far. But really the rest of this team as well, no member of this Serbian lineup has really struggled in any regard. I would say, maybe Boxer has the least impressive score, but I mean, it's not even going to be a problem moving forward. He could have died, 5 more times by now, and he would still be a Tryndamere. He'd still be a huge split pushing threat. And that Ignite means that there's really, a lot of pressure to deal with him.
Yeah, it's just a 1v1 potential that he always outputs. If Speedy isn't around to help, I assume Emmy, who has to deal with him, then it's a very tough time for the Kassan to try and 1v1 the Tryndamere at any part of this game. Now, I quite like the setup from Serbia now that we roll into the mid-game aspect, because they can execute a 1v1 almost flawlessly. You got a Shen in one of the side lanes, and you got a Tryndamere in the other one. This might be way too hard for Romania to deal with if they execute that.
But can they execute? I mean, it doesn't matter how many kills you get in the early games. Okay, yes, you can kill enemy champions, but you have to do things with it. And to be fair, Serbia has been remarkably conscientious with that. They're not only getting kills, but they're turning it into objectives as well. Rift Herald, two dragons. They were really on top of taking down these outer turrets and even second-tier turrets as well. So it seems like they do have the whole package. Romania struggling to really make it everywhere they need to be across the map.
Yeah, you can see just how punishing this actually is. Speedy, he nearly gave up his entire life just to get a ward down in his own jungle. This is a very tricky situation for the Sejuani, and I think for compositions that are 1-3-1, it is extremely hard to play a Sejuani into it because you got an ultimate that impacts a 5v5 team fight with the zoning after the initial hit as well. If you don't get that down, if it's only a 3-man member, it just doesn't really work out to your maximum potential, and you feel as if you're not quite hitting your mark.
Well, Serbia has been hitting a lot of marks, whether it's marks from Stefan or marks from, who else marks on their team? I guess not really, it's only Stefan. But his marks have been pretty good. Landing spears, hunting, or getting tracking with traps as well. Just been absolutely everywhere he needs to be. We've got a lot of items being completed as well. We've got both of the items that you really need on Tristana, so Plox is sitting in a good place. What really stands out to you as far as where we're going here?
Well, I quite like the fact that Stefan recognized just how far ahead he is and also his team. So he's opted to go for a little bit of the greedy haunting guys. It allows him to survive with the HP, but more importantly, it is the magic penetration that you really do get the item for. Now he should be building into an Athene's, which buffing Plox should be really great because he's sitting on a 2-item power spike.
Shen being forced to be used there on a boxer. It might have been totally planned as he spins the win all the way in. He is going to be unstoppable. His rage undying. His kills keep coming, but can he escape? The pug ball able to explode, but it's an explosive performance on the other side as well as Plox picks up a double kill. Emmy gets the turnaround, but the Baron will still go to Serbia.
Yeah, that was just a little bit of consolation prize coming out for the Kog'Maw, trying to pick it up in tandem with Emmy at the end, but they lost 4 members for the entire result. And more importantly than that, they lost the Baron buff. Now, with such an immense gold lead, they're nearly ticking over to the 10k point. Only 1k separates Serbia and Romania from just completely being outclassed in that sense, and they're looking to make that lead with the Baron buff. I mean, we already talked a little bit about how they really want to do a 1-3-1 split push composition. If they manage to do this and lay down a Baron buff in all 3 lanes, this is ridiculous, and I don't think that Romania necessarily has the wave clear in the side lanes to deal with it.
Taking a little bit of a breather. Finally, we have no champions dying on our screen, Preacher. Deep breaths. Highly underrated. Big fan of those. Those in stretches, gotta say, get more of those in your life, you'll be pretty happy. Almost as happy as Serbia is at the way this game is going. They are uncontested nearly everywhere they want to go. Air Drake, nobody cares. It's theirs, and it's uncontested as well.
Next one is also going to be another air, but, you know, a strange feeling is just telling me that it's not going to be the most important one
oh my goodness. Bulletproof dead. I don't think there's any way he gets out of this one. Dodges the spear, but he has to shoot back towards Stefan the flash forward.
Oh, that was just a very clean solo kill, and it wasn't even from one of the split pushes. Now they're going to the bottom lane. You know what he's saying? He's saying, there aren't enough side lanes for us to split push in. There are 3 split pushes, and there are only 2 side lanes, but they're all converging down into the bottom side. With Shen in top. He's got his teleport, not quite his Stand United, so it might be a little punishing, but they're going anyway.
Perfect usage of that teleport. Can't wait to go through an invincible minion, and that is going to break that outer inhibitor turret. A little cheeky jump forward. Speedy taking a lot of damage, has to back off as the first inhibitor will fall. Serbia breaking open the Romanian base.
And this is only 23 minutes, Rapid. The fact that they capitalize off of Bulletproof 1 death all the way into a base push with this Baron buff is just so conscientious.
It really is. From a little to a lot, Serbia taking out Romania 13-3. They will do it. Congratulations, Serbia. We'll take the win.
And a whole lot of that comes down to their individual mechanics. There were solo kills left, right, and center, and, you know, I kind of understand why a whole lot of these players rate Stefan as one of the best players on the team, because you can take a look at his early game and you can say, well, why is he really rated as one of the best junglers? He didn't really kill anybody. He didn't really get any assists. It doesn't even matter because he just made sure that the winning lanes got to lane without any other interference.
Great sportsmanship as well as the Serbian team runs over to shake hands. And so congratulations once again. Serbia, a very strong contender in really almost all of the Esports World Championships here. They have done very, very well. They placed 3rd last year here, which is a very impressive showing. So great to see them doing well again.
Yeah, and they're just showing exactly why they belong here. You combine some individual mechanics with some very smart map rotations, and it's a very hard team to beat. I mean, I can't name a more iconic duo, to be absolutely honest.
Well, they've been doing pretty well. I think we're pretty iconic as well, Preacher. But we're going to head off to a quick commercial break. When we come back, it's Costa Rica taking on Macau.